Now again we are here with a new topic of wave optics, class 12th. If you see the figure, there are two figures A and B. First, if we see the figure number A, these are the waves emitted by two sources, and if you see the wave at this point, this is the crest, and the same time this is the crest of the second wave. If this is a trough, then this is also the trough of the second wave. Means the phase difference of this wave is 0. Means at the same time the wave is reaching at its maximum peak, the same time this also the maximum peak. But if we see here, there is a phase difference of pi by 2. Means the crest of two waves or the trough of two waves are not at the same time. But here if we see the phase difference of 0, and again if you see here, this is a crest of one wave and this is a trough of another wave, trough of first wave, crest of another wave, means the phase difference is of pi. Now if you see from here to here, the phase difference is 0, sometime pi by 2, sometime 0, again sometime pi, means the phase difference is not same. But at the same time, if you see the figure number B, the two waves are originating from the two different sources, or two waves I am showing here. If this is a crest of one wave, this is a trough of the other wave, trough of this wave, first wave, crest of second wave. Now if you see the difference here, the phase difference is of pi. Here is also you find the phase difference of pi, and here also you find the phase difference of pi. Means if we see from here to here, the phase difference is always same. Means if you go to the train of the wave for 1 meter, 2 meter or many meters, then you will not find that there is not a difference of the phase. Means these waves have no phase difference, or we can say the constant phase is there, but here the phase difference is 0, sometime pi by 2, sometime 0, sometime pi, means phase is constantly changing. So this is the example of non-coherent sources, and this is the example of coherent sources. Now what is coherent sources? If you find the definition, so what is the coherent sources? Coherent sources are the source of light which emits continuous light waves of same wavelength, same frequency, and are in same phase or having constant phase difference are called coherent sources. These are the condition of the source to be coherent. Individual source of bulb or two candles or two electric bulb cannot be a coherent source. Means if we have to make the source coherent, so we have to make one source into two by some methods are there to make the source coherent, and the methods are, in this chapter you will learn about the topic YSD experiment, means Young's double slit experiment. This is also the way to make two coherent sources. One is Lloyd's mirror. It is not in your syllabus, it is beyond your syllabus, but Lloyd mirror, biprism. These are the ways how to make the source coherent. The quality of coherent sources are they have same wavelength, they have same frequency, and they are in same phase. Means the phase difference is always constant, or we can say 0. The phase difference is always 0. So these are the प्रॉपर्टीज ऑफ कोहेरेंट सोर्सेज. तो ऐसे वो सोर्स जिसमें सेम वेवलेंथ हो, सेम फ्रीक्वेंसी हो, उनके बीच में फेज भी हमेशा सेम रहता हो, ऐसे सोर्सेज को हम कोहेरेंट सोर्स बोलते हैं. लेजर लाइट इज highly coherent. Means laser light can be example of coherent source. If you had seen laser light, the laser light is like this. It has a beam of ray and they are always in a same phase whether they are moving forward they are always in same phase. But in the same time, if you see a bulb, then the waves are not in same phase, they are spreading all around, and they are not in same phase. Means at the same time the peaks of the wave are not, suppose that I am making this wave and this wave, they are in same phase. Means at the same time the peaks are same, the trough are same. These are the waves in same phase. But if you see the wave originated from the light source or a bulb, they are not in same phase, because at the time passes, the phases of the wave are different. So these are the example of non-coherent sources, and laser is example of coherent sources. So before starting the topic in this video, I have a video for you all to understand what is the Huygens principle. First you understand what is Huygens principle, then we will continue in this chapter with the interference, and so many headings are there in this chapter, like interference, polarization and diffraction. But before that you have to understand what is Huygens principle and how the light is considered as a wave. I have a small video for you all to view, and after that we will start the interference.
A small pebble dropped in a pool of still water creates ripples on the surface. These ripples form concentric circular rings around the source of disturbance and spread outward along the surface. When these ripples reach a point on the surface of water, the point starts oscillating up and down. Different points, which are at the same distance from the source of the disturbance, oscillate in phase. That means all these points reach the crest or trough at the same time. The locus of all such points having the same phase of oscillation is called a wavefront. In case of water waves on the surface of water, we observe circular wavefronts. Each circular wavefront is a locus of all points having the same phase of oscillation. The propagation of the waves can be understood by studying the propagation of wavefronts. An outward normal drawn at any point on the wavefront represents the direction of the wave at that point. In terms of energy, we say that the energy of the wave propagates in a direction perpendicular to the wavefront. The speed at which a wavefront travels is the speed of the wave. Waves on the surface of water are two-dimensional, and hence the wavefronts are circular in shape. But the waves from a source of sound or a source of light in a homogeneous medium spread in all directions and are three-dimensional in nature. Now consider a point source of light placed in a homogeneous and isotropic medium, emitting light waves in different directions. If the medium is homogeneous, the speed of light waves is the same throughout the medium, and if it is isotropic, it is the same in all directions. The loci of all points, which have the same amplitude and vibrate in the same phase, forms a sphere with its center at the source of light. Hence, a spherical wave front is generated when a point light source is placed in a homogeneous medium. At a large distance from the source, these spherical wave fronts have large radii of curvatures. A small portion of a spherical wave front at a very large distance from the source can be treated as a plane wavefront. In physical optics, we visualize light as waves and wavefronts. In ray optics, we visualize light as rays. A line drawn perpendicular to the wavefront in the direction of its propagation is treated as the ray of light in ray optics. Note that a wave front is a surface of constant phase. If a particular wave front is a locus of points with maximum amplitude, It continues to be like that as it propagates through the medium. Christian Huygens proposed a geometrical method known as the Huygens principle for finding the shape and location of a wavefront at some instant from the knowledge of the shape and location of the same wavefront at an earlier instance. According to Huygens' principle, each point of a wavefront is a source of a secondary disturbance and generates spherical secondary wavelets, which spread out in all directions with the speed of the wave in that medium. If a tangential surface common to all these secondary spherical wavefronts is drawn, then it gives the new position of the wavefront at a later instant. This surface envelopes all the secondary wavelets. To understand Huygens' principle, let us now consider a primary wave front AB propagating in a homogeneous medium. Then, according to the Huygens principle, each point of AB acts as a source of secondary disturbance. The secondary wavelets emanated from these points are spherical in shape and spread in all directions at a speed equal to the speed of the wave. If the speed of the wave is v, then in time t, the radius of the spherical wavelets becomes vt. The tangential surface common to all these spheres in the forward direction gives the shape and location of the new wavefront after t seconds. In the image, the surface A'(B' represents the location of the wavefront AB after t seconds. The secondary wavelets must be directed backward as well as forward from the secondary point sources. If this would be correct, we would get a surface such as A'(B') as a back wave. But experimental results do not show the presence of any such back wave. In order to explain this, Huygens proposed that the intensity of the spherical wavelets is not uniform in all directions, but is maximum in the forward direction and zero in the backward direction. Hence, the wavelets as well as the whole wave always propagate in the forward direction only. Now let us use Huygens' principle to find the location and shape of a plane wavefront at a later instant of time t. Let AB be a plane wavefront at time t equal to 0. According to Huygens' principle, each point of AB acts as a source of secondary wavelets. The radii of these spheres will be Vt after t seconds. The plane touching these small spheres in the forward direction gives the shape and location of the new wavefront after t seconds.
Now in this figure, if you see, the two pens or two rods are there, and it is disturb the water surface in a pond or in a pool, or the stagnant water, still water is disturbed by the two needles and the source S1 and S2 it is considered here, and after disturbing with the help of this rod or we can say pencil, the waves are moving, forming in the pond, and if you see, the ripples are moving away from each other. And let us consider point P here. How the waves are reaching here and what is the displacement at this point. If we consider what is the displacement of the point here, which is distance S1P and S2P from each other. Now let us consider about the displacement made by each source at the point P. Now in this figure, if you see, the two pens or two rods are there, and it is make disturb the water surface in a pond or in a pool, or the stagnant water, still water is disturbed by the two needles and the source S1 and S2 it is considered here, and after disturbing with the help of this rod or we can say pencil, the waves are moving forming in the pond, and if you see the ripples are moving away from each other. And let us consider point P here, how the waves are reaching here and what is the displacement at this point. If we consider what is the displacement of the point here, which is distance S1P and S2P from each other. Now let us consider about the displacement made by each source at the point P. Now suppose I am taking two needles here, and this is S1, the point of disturbance, and this is S2. These are the two sources, and this is the point of disturbance. And if we see, the ripples are moving forward from each point of disturbance around it. And if you consider point P here, then S1 to P, it is P, and S2 to P, if you see the distance. So we are considering that the two needles S1 and S2 moving periodically up and down in an identical fashion in a turf of water, and they produces two water waves they are producing, and at a particular point the phase difference between the displacement produced by each wave does not change with time. When this happens, the two sources are said to be coherent. Now if you see S1P is equal to S2P, it is to be considered, let S1P is equal to S2P. Now the displacement made by the wave from S1 is y1 is equal to a cos omega t, means y1 is equal to a cos omega t. This is the displacement equation by the source S1 at point P of the particle. Now the same from the source S2, what is the displacement at the point P of the particle? So y2 is equal to a cos omega t. The displacement produced by the source S2 at the point P will be a cos omega t. The displacement produced by the source S1 at the point P is a cos omega t, and the resultant point P, the resultant displacement at the point P will be y is equal to y1 plus y2. Means the particle at here will be displaced by the resultant of these two waves. This is y2 is equal to a cos omega t. This is the displacement by this wave, and this is by this wave. Now the principle of superposition, here we apply y1 plus y2. Now what is the resultant? The resultant of displacement at P is y is equal to y1 plus y2, and it is equal to 2a. A and a should be at 2a and cos omega t. This is y. Y is equal to 2a cos omega t. Now if you see here, this is the amplitude, resultant amplitude, and intensity, since intensity is proportional to a square, or we can say intensity is proportional to the square of amplitude, so the resultant intensity will be I is equal to 2a का होल स्क्वायर और I is equal to 4a square और 4I naught. So the resultant density will be 4I naught. So this is the resultant intensity 4I naught at the point P due to the two waves. Now the resultant intensity will I is equal to 4I naught. As I discussed in this video, the resultant intensity is I is equal to 4I naught because the intensity is proportional to amplitude square. So it is I is equal to 4I naught. I have written in the back of this page, where I naught, what is I naught? I naught is the intensity produced by each of individual source. Each of individual source. I naught, and I naught is proportional to a square. Now the intensity maximum will be 4I naught. This is the maximum intensity at point P due to that two sources, and if we take the perpendicular bisector of the two sources, suppose that this is a source S1 and this is source S2, and if I take a perpendicular bisector of these two waves, so the waves, the point at these bisector will always in the same phase, means maximum intensity will be here, that is 4I naught. The two sources are said to be interfere constructively. If the intensity is 4I naught, तो इसका मतलब यह है कि दोनों जो वेव्स पहुंचा रहे हैं दोनों सोर्सेज किसी पॉइंट पर, उसकी वजह से वहाँ पर इंटेंसिटी मैक्सिमम हो रही है, एंड दैट इज कॉल्ड कंस्ट्रक्टिव इंटरफेरेंस, और वी कैन से द टू सोर्सेज आर interfere constructively, and we can say that it is constructive interference. This is the maximum intensity when the interference is constructive. Now we will see the figure in the NCERT book. If you see the figure from your NCERT, so let us see here. If you see this figure on the page number 361, this is S1 and S2, two sources are here, and this is point Q. If you see, number of waves are here to reach at Q, and here also the number of waves are here to reach at Q. Now if you count, so this is the one wave, 2 wave, 3 wave, 4 wave, 5 wave, 6 wave, and 7 wave. Now if you count here, this is one wave, this is one wave. Now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. These are the 9 waves. So when light reaches from S2 to Q, there are 9 lambda. The distance is of 9 lambda, and the distance from S1 Q is of 7 lambda. So the difference in the two path is of 2 lambda. If you see, S2Q minus S1Q, S2Q minus S1Q का जो डिफरेंस है वो 2 लैम्डा के बराबर है. मीन्स if it is 1 lambda, it is lambda, तो the lambda अगर वेवलेंथ है यहाँ से लेके यहाँ तक इन टाइम t, द डिस्टेंस कवर्ड बाय द वेव इज लैम्डा, मीन्स 1 क्रेस्ट एंड 1 ट्रफ. तो दिस इज इक्वल टू phase of 2 pi. When the difference is of 2 lambda, then the difference in phase will be 4 pi. Means यहाँ से और यहाँ में कितना अंतर आ रहा है, 2 लैम्डा का फर्क आ रहा है. तो 2 लैम्डा का अगर पाथ डिफरेंस है तो फेज डिफरेंस कितना होगा, 4 पाई, क्योंकि एक लैम्डा के डिफरेंस से फेज डिफरेंस 2 पाई का होगा. तो 2 लैम्डा के पाथ डिफरेंस से फेज डिफरेंस कितना होगा, 4 पाई का, क्योंकि यहाँ पर कितना हम देख रहे हैं, यहाँ पर 2 लैम्डा का डिफरेंस देख रहे हैं. तो हमारा जो लैम्डा पाथ डिफरेंस है 2 लैम्डा का है, तो फेज डिफरेंस कितना होगा, 4 पाई का. नाउ अगेन इफ वी सी y1 इज इक्वल टू y1 is equal to a cos omega t from S1 in that same figure. S1 से लेकर के Q तक में y1 हो गया हमारा a cos omega t, और for S2 if we consider y2 तो it will be a cos omega t minus 4 pi, means 4 pi का phase difference. Now if you apply trigonometry here, cos 4 pi या थीटा माइनस 4 पाई और इट इक्वल टू थीटा, that is y2 is equal to a cos omega t. Now same here, y1 is equal to a cos omega t and y2 is equal to a cos omega t. Means जब फेज डिफरेंस हमारा 4 पाई का है तो हमारा जो डिफरेंस है, इक्वेशन यहाँ देखें a cos ओमेगा t और यहाँ पर देखें y2 बराबर a cos ओमेगा t. फिर हमें जो अभी इंटेंसिटी यहाँ मिलने वाली है, दैट इज y1 इज इक्वल टू y इज इक्वल टू y1 प्लस y2. अगेन इफ यू ऐड देन y इज इक्वल टू 2a cos omega t. Again intensity will be 4I naught. तो अगर वेव फेज डिफरेंस 4 पाई का रखती हैं तो भी हमको वहाँ पे इंटेंसिटी मैक्सिमम मिल रही है, मीन्स इंटरफेरेंस हमको वहाँ पर कंस्ट्रक्टिव मिल रहा है. फिर इसी तरीके से अगर हम पाथ डिफरेंस में देखें, पाथ डिफरेंस अगर हमारा 2 लैम्डा है तो हमें वहाँ पर इंटरफेरेंस कंस्ट्रक्टिव मिल रहा है. तो अगला हमें कब मिलेगा कंस्ट्रक्टिव इंटरफेरेंस, 6 पाई पर, मीन्स अगला इंटरफेरेंस हमको 6 पाई पर मिलने वाला है. तो दिस इज द कंडीशन फॉर कंस्ट्रक्टिव इंटरफेरेंस. तो इन कंस्ट्रक्टिव इंटरफेरेंस द मैक्सिमम इंटेंसिटी इज 4I naught. Now we will see for destructive interference कि destructive interference में क्या हो रहा है. Now if you see the figure again, see S1 R and S2 R. If you count the waves from S1 to R, this is 9.75 lambda, and if you count the waves from S2 to R, it is 7.25 lambda. Means if this is lambda, तो it is यहाँ से यहाँ तक कितना हो जाएगा, लैम्डा बाई 2, ये लैम्डा बाई 2, और इसका हाफ क्या होगा, लैम्डा बाई 4, लैम्डा बाई 4, इसका हाफ लैम्डा बाई 4, लैम्डा बाई 4. लैम्डा बाई 4 मीन्स 0.25 लैम्डा. तो इट इज़ 9.75 लैम्डा, मीन्स 9 तो कंप्लीट वेव है और एक हमारी ये हाफ और इतनी, ये हमारा हो गया 0.75 वेव, 0.75 लैम्डा इतना. तो 9 तो कंप्लीट और इतनी हमारी 0.75. इस तरीके से यहाँ पर 7.25 में 7 कंप्लीट और उसके बाद ये, दिस इज़ 0.25 लैम्डा. तो इस तरीके से हमारे इस वाले पाथ में और इस वाले पाथ में अगर डिफरेंस देखें तो 2.5 लैम्डा माइनस का आ रहा है, मीन्स S2R माइनस S1R इज इक्वल टू माइनस 2.5 लैम्डा। दोनों में जो पाथ डिफरेंस है वो माइनस 2.5 लैम्डा का है। अब यहाँ पर फेज डिफरेंस कितना होगा? जब जब पाथ डिफरेंस लैम्डा का है तो फेज में कितना होता है? 2 पाई का। जब पाथ डिफरेंस 2 लैम्डा का होता है तो फेज में कितना होता है? 4 पाई का। इसी तरीके से जब पाथ डिफरेंस 2.5 लैम्डा का होगा तो फेज में कितना होगा? 5 पाई का। क्लियर? अगर पाथ डिफरेंस लैम्डा का है तो फेज डिफरेंस 2 पाई का है। अगर पाथ डिफरेंस 2 लैम्डा का है तो फेज डिफरेंस 4 पाई का है। और इसी तरीके से अगर पाथ डिफरेंस 2.5 लैम्डा का है तो फेज डिफरेंस 5 पाई का है। क्लियर? नाउ अगेन difference from S2R minus S1R, it is minus 2.5 लैम्डा। तो वेव जो सोर्स S1 से निकल रही हैं वो 2.5 साइकिल बाद में पहुंच रही हैं। जो सोर्स S1 और S2 से जो लाइट वेव निकल रही हैं उसमें जो S1 से जो लाइट वेव निकल रही हैं, जो वेव निकल के जा रही हैं, वो 2.5 साइकिल के बाद पहुंच रही हैं। इफ़ यू सी द फिगर अगेन फ्रॉम योर NCERT 10.9 तो आपको वहाँ पे दिख जाएगा। नाउ द डिस्प्लेसमेंट y1 ड्यू टू S1 इज a cos omega t and displacement by source S2 we can write y2 is equal to a cos omega t। अब कितना डिफरेंस हमारे पास है फेस में? 5 पाई का, 5 पाई का डिफरेंस है। एंड इट इज इक्वल टू y2 इज इक्वल टू a माइनस cos omega t। so this is y1, so this is y1 and this is y2। now if you see the condition a cos omega t and here it is minus a cos omega t because यहाँ पर a cos omega t plus 5 pi। तो दिस इज द ट्रिग्नोमेट्रिकल आइडेंटिटी यू कैन यूज हियर, माइनस a cos थीटा और माइनस a cos ओमेगा t हो जाएगा यहाँ पर, क्योंकि यहाँ पर माइनस थीटा आएगा। तो यहाँ पर हम दोनों को अगर ऐड करें फिर से, इफ़ यू ऐड y1 प्लस y2 को हम ऐड कर दें तो हमारा जो रिजल्टेंट होगा वो यहाँ पर 0 हो जाएगा। क्यों? क्योंकि a माइनस का है यहाँ पर, a यहाँ पर प्लस का है, तो प्लस माइनस माइनस हो जाएगा, मीन्स यहाँ पर इंटेंसिटी हमारी जो होगी वो 0 रहेगी। द टू डिस्प्लेसमेंट आर नाउ आउट ऑफ फेज एंड द टू डिस्प्लेसमेंट विल कैंसिल आउट टू गिव 0 इंटेंसिटी। टू डिस्प्लेसमेंट will cancel out and give 0 इंटेंसिटी, 0 इंटेंसिटी देंगे। तो अब यहाँ पे क्या दिखा हमें? आउट ऑफ फेज है, इंटेंसिटी 0 है, तो ये हमारा डिस्ट्रक्टिव इंटरफेरेंस कहलाएगा। दिस इज कॉल्ड डिस्ट्रक्टिव इंटरफेरेंस। और जहाँ पर इंटेंसिटी मैक्सिमम है मीन्स 4I0 है, वहाँ पर इंटरफेरेंस कैसा है? कंस्ट्रक्टिव। तो हम यहाँ पे देख रहे हैं कि जब दो वेव्स एक ही मीडियम में आगे बढ़ती हैं तो किसी पॉइंट पर हमको कंस्ट्रक्टिव इंटरफेरेंस मिलता है, किसी पॉइंट पर हमको डिस्ट्रक्टिव इंटरफेरेंस मिलता है। और कंस्ट्रक्टिव और डिस्ट्रक्टिव इंटरफेरेंस का पैटर्न देखने के लिए ये बहुत ज़रूरी है कि लाइट सोर्सेज कोहेरेंट होने चाहिए। इफ़ द सोर्सेज आर नॉट कोहेरेंट वी आर नॉट गेटिंग द इंटरफेरेंस पैटर्न विजिबल। सो विजिबल इंटरफेरेंस पैटर्न के लिए हमारे सोर्सेज का कोहेरेंट होना जरूरी है। एंड व्हाट आर द कोहेरेंट सोर्सेज वी हैव डिस्कस इन दिस वीडियो। नाउ द कंडीशन इज वेरी क्लियर नाउ फॉर द constructive interference. The intensity will be 4I0 and for destructive the intensity will be 0. तो 0 maximum 0 maximum 0 maximum is dark and bright हमको ऑल्टरनेट पैटर्न मिलता है स्क्रीन पर। और ये हम अभी समझेंगे अपने नेक्स्ट वीडियो में विद द हेल्प ऑफ YSD experiment, Young's double slit experiment. And the work for you all today is you revise the topic from your NCERT page number 360 and 361. I had shown you, I had hint you what is the meaning of the coherent sources and what is the meaning of destructive and constructive interference with the help of your book. You again revise, see the video and try to understand. If you have any problem, you can make a call on my number or you message me. Thank you. Have a nice day. Now again, difference from S2 R minus S1 R, it is minus 2.5 लैम्डा. तो वेव जो सोर्स S1 से निकल रही हैं वो 2.5 साइकिल बाद में पहुंच रही हैं. जो सोर्स S1 और S2 से जो लाइट वेव निकल रही हैं उसमें जो S1 से जो लाइट वेव निकल रही हैं, जो वेव निकल के जा रही हैं, वो 2.5 साइकिल के बाद पहुंच रही हैं. इफ़ यू सी द फिगर अगेन फ्रॉम योर NCERT 10.9, तो आपको वहाँ पे दिख जाएगा. नाउ द डिस्प्लेसमेंट y1 ड्यू टू S1 इज a cos omega t and displacement by source S2 we can write y2 is equal to a cos omega t. अब कितना डिफरेंस हमारे पास है फेस में? 5 पाई का डिफरेंस है एंड इट इज इक्वल टू y2 इज इक्वल टू a minus cos omega t. So this is y1, so this is y1 and this is y2. Now if you see the condition a cos omega t and here it is minus a cos omega t because यहाँ पर a cos omega t plus 5 pi. So this is the trigonometrical identity you can use here. minus a cos theta और minus a cos omega t हो जाएगा यहाँ पर, क्योंकि यहाँ पर माइनस थीटा आएगा. तो यहाँ पर हम दोनों को अगर ऐड करें फिर से, इफ़ यू ऐड y1 प्लस y2 को हम ऐड कर दें तो हमारा जो रिजल्टेंट होगा वो यहाँ पर 0 हो जाएगा. क्यों? क्योंकि a माइनस का है यहाँ पर, a यहाँ पर प्लस का है, तो प्लस माइनस माइनस हो जाएगा. मीन्स यहाँ पर इंटेंसिटी हमारी जो होगी वो 0 रहेगी. द टू डिस्प्लेसमेंट आर नाउ आउट ऑफ फेज एंड द टू डिस्प्लेसमेंट विल कैंसिल आउट टू गिव 0 इंटेंसिटी. टू डिस्प्लेसमेंट will cancel out and give 0 intensity. 0 इंटेंसिटी देंगे. तो अब यहाँ पे क्या दिखा हमें? आउट ऑफ फेज है, इंटेंसिटी 0 है, तो ये हमारा डिस्ट्रक्टिव इंटरफेरेंस कहलाएगा. दिस इज कॉल्ड डिस्ट्रक्टिव इंटरफेरेंस. और जहाँ पर इंटेंसिटी मैक्सिमम है मीन्स 4I0 है, वहाँ पर इंटरफेरेंस कैसा है? कंस्ट्रक्टिव. तो हम यहाँ पे देख रहे हैं कि जब दो वेव्स एक ही मीडियम में आगे बढ़ती हैं तो किसी पॉइंट पर हमको कंस्ट्रक्टिव इंटरफेरेंस मिलता है, किसी पॉइंट पर हमको डिस्ट्रक्टिव इंटरफेरेंस मिलता है. और कंस्ट्रक्टिव और डिस्ट्रक्टिव इंटरफेरेंस का पैटर्न देखने के लिए ये बहुत ज़रूरी है कि लाइट सोर्सेज कोहेरेंट होने चाहिए. इफ़ द सोर्सेज आर नॉट कोहेरेंट वी आर नॉट गेटिंग द इंटरफेरेंस पैटर्न विजिबल. सो विजिबल इंटरफेरेंस पैटर्न के लिए हमारे सोर्सेज का कोहेरेंट होना जरूरी है. एंड व्हाट आर द कोहेरेंट सोर्सेज वी हैव डिस्कस इन दिस वीडियो. नाउ द कंडीशन इज वेरी क्लियर नाउ फॉर द कंस्ट्रक्टिव इंटरफेरेंस. द इंटेंसिटी विल बी 4I0 and for destructive the intensity will be 0. तो 0 maximum 0 maximum 0 maximum is dark and bright हमको ऑल्टरनेट पैटर्न मिलता है स्क्रीन पर. और ये हम अभी समझेंगे अपने नेक्स्ट वीडियो में विद द हेल्प ऑफ YSD experiment, Young's double slit experiment. And the work for you all today is you revise the topic from your NCERT page number 360 and 361. I had shown you, I had hint you what is the meaning of the coherent sources and what is the meaning of destructive and constructive interference with the help of your book. You again revise, see the video and try to understand. If you have any problem, you can make a call on my number or you message me. Thank you. Have a nice day.